Okay, so chapter 14 was a little bit of a tricky one. Now, in this story, there was a journalist. He was a news journalist at the time by the name of McFadden. Um, One of the first stories that he was writing about was a murder story, but this murder story was interesting because it had a little bit of a twist. Um, so apparently, it was kind of a revenge, like an avenging murder. Um, Come to find out, the murderer was the half brother of a rape victim, but the rape victim was raped by her father. I believe it was a stepfather for the both of them, but he was related to them in that way. And the murderer, I believe his name was Tom, murdered Mr. Brown. So in this case, the entire problem was how they were going to approach talking about this story and releasing this story, because if they release the names of both the murderer and the victim, then by association, because they have to tell the motives behind the murder, they are releasing information that could lead to the identity of the rape victim. So because of that, it started to become a little tricky, especially if they release the street name that the murder happened. But the Herald, which is the newspaper, had to uphold one of their biggest things, which is tell the truth and always tell the truth. But they really wanted to protect the rape victim, who was 16 at the time, so she was a minor. And because she was a minor, they really, really, really wanted to strongly uphold, like, withholding her identity and to protect her, especially when she gets older. So now they decided to withhold information of the street name, and they also decided to paint Tom, the murderer, as just a relative instead of giving exactly who he was. And they also decided on saying the father, who is the rapist and the murder victim, as someone she knew. So that's how they went about changing that. And also, when she got older, about 3 years later, in the retelling of the story, because now the court information is out and legal for the public domain. So now they know other people are going to take the story and try to renew it. And they will incorporate new information. But they really wanted to continue their policy of protecting her. Even now, she's 18, she's 19, I'm sorry, at this time. So she's legal, and you can legally do that, but that's still um, invasive. So they decided against that. Now, my opinion, I really honestly and truly think they did the right thing, because she deserves her privacy, especially as a minor. Having everybody remember you as that girl that was raped and whose brother is a murderer as a 16-year-old can be a little shocking and a little traumatizing. And even still, when she grows up and is now 19, it's still like I would still withhold my information, because at the time, a lot of the information that they gathered were hearsay. Um, it was said by the authorities, but it wasn't an official statement. Um, and then later they found out that it was um, officials, like information that he was the father and that he was the half brother. So because of that, at the time, because it was hearsay, that was information that I can't release anyway. And I also don't believe that they lied. I just believe that they honestly told the truth, but they didn't give detail. And that's really strong, for me, because if you're trying to protect the victim, the rape victim, and you're also trying to always tell the truth, um, that's something that's very important. Tell the truth, but not the whole truth, because that this is the type of situation where you have to do that. Now, always, always, always tell the truth. That's my number one thing, and give every detail in certain situations. But in this situation, they did the completely right thing, and I'm 100% behind it. And there's nothing I would change about anything aside from the fact that when I was asked my opinion on, well, at the end, the little footnotes of what to think about, um, they asked, would you release the information when she's 19? No, I would not. Uh, why? Because that, even though she's no longer a minor, it's still something traumatizing. Um, so I wouldn't release that information unless she tells me otherwise, that it's okay. Or the family, and even if the family tells me to withhold information, I would gladly do that, because that's their privacy, that's their um that's them wanting to you know protect her. But yeah, that's my opinion on chapter 14, and that's how I feel about it. Thank you.